Starting. Okay. So we're really excited to have Anna Choi here today to talk about how to attract clients now. And I'll tell you a little bit about her. Anna is fiercely committed to empowering the next generation of conscious entrepreneurs to attract more clients through business coaching and conscious business accelerator. She envisions a new normal economy based on the quadruple bottom line of people, planet, profit, and presence. As a broke art student with no money, connections, or experience, she built and sold her first business, InsideOut Investing, a socially responsible financial planning practice in 5 years for double what it was worth, tripling net income and grossing 6 figures by age 25. A decade later, she helps her clients unleash their business brilliance, attract clients, and scale their impact. She is founder of Social Impact TV, chair of the Social Enterprise Alliance Washington State Chapter, and on the advisory committee for Olympic College's Business Management Department and Bremerton Kitsap Access Television Station. Anna's proudest accomplishment is water birthing her son, Eli, who is now 7 years old. She married her best friend, Leo, celebrating 15 years together, and lives in Poulsbo. She loves dancing, taekwondo, ukulele singing, and you might see her face on billboards, trains, or the BECU commercials, and Billboard, which I see you every time I go to business banking. So welcome, Anna. We're happy to have you.
Excellent. All right, so welcome. Now, when we first, I want to share with you 3 major global trends that are happening right now. Number 1 is constant adaptation. This is not on your worksheet if you're looking. We're just setting the stage of what every business owner needs to know in this century. So how many of you, you see the technological evolution happening so quickly, and we're entering what's called the 4th industrial revolution. The 3rd being internet, the 4th being augmented reality, VR, 3D printing, and AI. So how business is done as we know it will be dramatically shifting. And how relevant will you be? The second global trend we see, besides constant adaptation, is information overload. Here's the thing. Just 5 years ago, your brain had to process way less than it does today. In fact, in the last 2 years alone, Domo did a study where 90% of the world's data was generated in the last 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
What? It was like a quintillion bytes of data are uploaded on the social media content every second. So the landscape dramatically changed just in the last 5 years. And then the third thing is what I call hyper customization, personalization. So, well, all this, like, no longer do you need to be the expert, because you can just Google it. People want customization, they want personalization, and it's not just something the millennials want. It's just how business is going to be done. Like, they don't want to be a number. They expect you, now you can go to Amazon or wherever and get your perfect, Netflix knows you and Spotify knows your music taste, and the ads are getting better, yeah? Like, on your feed, you're like, oh, I actually do. I want to buy that or look at that. So how will your business also personalize? So that's kind of what you're facing that I think contributes to a ton of stress that people might feel and overwhelm. But today, what I want to give you is we're going to really look at how to, inside of all of that happening, ground yourself and stay energetically aligned. And inside of that, look at what are the 6 steps to attract clients now. So we're going to start off first with the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make. Easiest thing is to tell you about a story to illustrate this. So there's a man on his hands and knees, and he's underneath a lamppost, and he's looking for his keys. Friend walks up, he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm looking for my keys. She's like, well, where did you leave your keys last? And he's like, oh, over there. He points to the dark. She's like, then why are you looking here? And he says, because this is where I can see. So this story is not too far off from what many entrepreneurs do day to day. They're looking under the lamppost where they can see what to do in their business to grow it, not on where they need to go, where the keys actually are in the dark, unknown. So that's the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make, is they have a very scattered marketing approach rather than being focused on what makes them money. So look for yourself right now in your business. What are the ways that you look under the lamppost? So this is going to be the interactive part. And if you're watching, you can just say this out loud to yourself. But what are ways that you are looking on what you see to do that may have nothing to do with your revenue generating actions of growing your business?
Social media.
Social media, the Facebook vortex. What else? 80 things. Yeah, go say it about, yeah. Emails.
It's not relevant.
Yeah.
Honestly, doing business development.
Yeah, lots of coffee meetings, like a million of them that don't go anywhere. So you don't like cultivate it in the right way. Yeah.
Sometimes offering 20-minute free.
All these free consultations. Very good. That's a good one. Blogging, yeah. That content marketing actually working.
Yeah.
Do you actually need to be on every social media channel? Do you?
No.
Nope. Yeah. Anything else? Anybody see? Websites I see is a big one. Oh, that thing's an endless pitch. Perfect logo, the right design. Okay, yeah.
I think one of the ones that I've learned over time is marketing, going after people you don't like.
Oh, that's a big energy suck too. Yeah.
It's like, I've learned over time, in the beginning you start, I'll work with anybody. And then you're like,
yes.
And then it's like, okay, I'm not chasing you anymore. Stop chasing me. We're done.
Very good. And that's, I'm going to sidestep for a moment. People tend to, in the beginning of their business, work with anybody. And as you get bigger, then the question becomes, how do you filter all the opportunities that are coming your way and not stay in that hustle mindset that had you be successful, but now won't make you successful? All right. So those are lots of different ways, right? That you are looking under the lampposts on what you can see to do, but not on what there actually is to do in the dark. So now we're going to go in the dark and look at where the keys actually are. So those are the 2 keys to high performance. I'm just going to give you it right now. Those 2 things are your systems and your mindset. So mindset, what is that? That's your daily habits. Those are your rituals. Those are the things that give you the perception of what you need to do now. So I say that there's always 2 modes you're either in: performance mindset or struggler's mindset. And for you, just look for yourself, what's your version of struggler's mindset? And it's, anything that's in sort of reaction. Oh my gosh, how am I going to stand out in the crowd? There's so many different online social media. Like, how am I going to keep up with the market? Like, blah, blah, blah. What are some of yours?
I can make those calls back as soon as I get all this stuff out of the way.
I can make those calls as soon as I get all that stuff out of the way.
But this stuff never gets finished.
Yep. Sometimes it's mine looks like, I can't get this all done. I can't have it all work. Like, either health has to go or family has to go if I'm going to keep growing. Like, how do you juggle all 3 as you keep growing, right? Because you get it you reach one stage and you've got it under control, but then to bring it to the next level, it gets all crazy. Anybody else? Struggler's mindset? We all have it. It's not like you're one or the other. So think about, give yourself a percentage of how much you're in the struggler's mindset versus the performance mindset. Or in my thing, did I say, performance mindset. So performance mindset is like, think of an Olympic athlete like Gabby Douglas, Olympic gold medalist, doing backflips. So what would you say, what are words to describe a performance mindset? Focused. What else?
I have a theme song.
Theme song? Go for it.
Theme song. I do. It gets me pumped when I'm having those days where but I do. I literally put on one song and it just keeps going.
Oh, good. So what do you feel when you get that song going?
It's just
like pumped up, you're ready to go.
Whenever I'm struggling with food, done.
Great. There's no right answers. Yep.
Goal oriented. I keep my goals right in front of me.
Yeah, you're focused. You've got your goals right in front of you. You're clear on what you need to do, right? Not or indecisive about it. So kind of think about, for you, what does your flow mode look like? When are you in the zone? Maybe it's being relaxed, right? You've got so much pressure, and as an Olympic athlete, you've got 1 second in a microsecond, it all could, the thing you've been working on for 15 years is gone because you've lost by a tenth of a second. Okay, so just look for yourself. Just shout it out. What's the percentage that you find yourself in performance mindset during the day?
Depends on the day.
Generally, overall, what would you say? 30%? 80%, 60, 70. Okay. Guess what? You don't have to be at 100%. That's not the point. You can kind of pick for yourself what is your goal percentage that you want. And then just ask yourself, okay, what's one step? Or it's every moment you get to choose. Am I going to be in performance or struggler's mindset? And the more that you can just notice that if you're in struggler's mindset and bring performance mindset, that's the goal here. It's not about getting to 100%. Your goal is 50%, awesome, but then just notice. The point is to notice and just be able to switch it. Okay, and then systems. So that's the first key. The other key we're talking about is systems. That's where you map out your entire process. I normally have a whiteboard here and I start drawing, but if you think of a bunch of boxes, right, these are all the different ways you can market your business and strategize. So there's over like 30 different ways. Blogging, content marketing, networking, press and PR, events, we could go on and on. You just want to have like 2 or 3, and then they go into then your it's like your customer pathway. So once you market to them, where do they go? Do you give them a strategy session or a free consultation? Do you give them a survey? Do they get access to your website? Do you give them a login? And then from there, you keep going. So most people have numerous boxes and numerous offerings, which don't allow you to be in performance and be clear. You need to it's less is more, right? So what are you actually focused on? That's what I mean by systems. So now so if you just look for yourself, do you have a system right now that leads to what your core offering is? And yes or no. If you do, great, draw it out. If you don't, great, draw it out. So I'll just give you a couple minutes to do that. You can kind of just brainstorm okay, what is my customer pathway? How do they first find out about me? And then what's maybe my free offer, and then my initial offer, and then my big paid offer? It's kind of what is the process that you want to walk your clients through? And if you're watching this, you can download the worksheet and work on this alongside everybody else as well. So right now we're just on number 2, the 2 keys to higher master high performance, and I'm drawing out your system of your customer journey that will come through to find out about you. All right, go ahead and wrap that up. All right, and you can always work on this when you get back home as well. So all of these things you'll be able to work on later. Okay, so now we're going to look at, we have the keys. We've figured out kind of our blind spot of where we might be working on something and getting busy on something that's not actually going to generate revenue. So now we're going to look at how to energetically align yourself. So you can flip your worksheet over. And this is based on an energy spectrum. So I'm going to share my personal story. So as Julie had shared, I was this broke art major with no connections or money, right? 22, whatever, 23. And then started financial planning, which makes no sense. But I just liked the leadership and I wanted to get trained and learn how to run a business. So eventually that's, I was looking financially, grossing 6 figures, right? Tripling my net income by 25, but I was so burned out physically and emotionally. And I remember sitting in my office, I'm in my mid-20s and I'm like passed out because I'm getting so little sleep because I'm working 8 hours a week. I'm this is not sustainable, right? Not at all. So I swung the other direction. So I sold my business. I'm like, I'm going to pursue my heart's passions. And I published a children's book, and I went traveling. I said, babe, I'm going to go on sabbatical for 6 months and not work. I'm just going to figure out what I love. So that's what I did. And so now we were, having lots of fun. We bought our first house, went to Spain, all this stuff, but we were on food stamps. And I remember, and we're living off just my husband's income. He was a landscaper, digging ditches and making nothing. And I remember thinking, wow, you can't really do much when you're so limited. And I remember being at the grocery store and like having to pick which beans I could buy with my food stamps. And I was like, this is so long. No more. So I was like, not going to go there. So then at this point, though, my husband quit his job full time. And we had a commitment to ourselves to have at least one parent home until Eli was 5. So I went back in the workforce because I was ready to work again. And at this point, I had a house, a spouse, a kid to support, and the sole breadwinner. So that was stressful. And I felt like I couldn't go after what I loved. So I did what was good enough, what I enjoyed, and to make good money that was regular and consistent. So I did a lot of contracting at that time. And that's kind of when I started my second iteration of events consulting. So I was making good money. I finally hit it. And I was in the tech industry, and I was working with all of these Google and all those guys. And but my soul, it was like still something was off because I enjoyed it, and I was way less stressed. I was only working like 35 hours a week. Everything seemed right, but it wasn't. So if you kind of picture like what you see yourself doing in the future, like your vision, and then you look at like what fulfills you, and then you look at the money that comes in, and then that's kind of like what's above the surface and what people see, and then there's inside your mind, body, and heart, soul, and spirit, right? And so in the first case, I was really great with the money, and I was actually pretty fulfilled in my business, but my physical, my body part was like way out of whack. It was like, right? The second scenario, super happy and fulfilled. Everything was lined up, but the money was way out of whack. But everything else was great. Third case, right? Everything was good except the soul was like seriously missing. And so that was out of whack. So I was like, oh, what is this? So finally, you're about to rate yourself in a moment according to those different areas, but look for yourself. Where are you energetically aligned or off in your life? And the more that you can align yourself in all those areas, the more your presence and your brand sings, and the more you can really fulfill and attract clients. So it's kind of this odd thing where your presence attracts way more people than even your actions, right? Like when you walk in a room, people have an impression of you, and that by far is the biggest thing that has people attracted to you. So go ahead and take a moment on your worksheet and just kind of fill in the bubbles. So there's a spectrum of like kind of the perfect balance. So on the first one of vision, you haven't even thought about vision. You just know some goals for next year, but you don't have like in 5 years, like where you're headed. That would be on the left side. Or maybe you're like too attached, too focused to a vision. Like this must happen. I must meet these goals. I will do anything it takes. I'd sacrifice of anything to get what I need. That would be over too much energy. So kind of rate yourself on that spectrum for vision. Just circle it in. Profitability, that's more clear. So you're either right on track for goals in the middle, maybe you have too much money at the cost of things, or you're under your goals, revenue goals. Yes? Julie?
Just 5 minutes.
Oh, great. Okay. And fulfillment, same thing. So you want to keep doing that all the way down. So body, same thing. If you work out too much versus you don't. Mind, you're thinking about it, stuff too much all the time, or you're like dull, numb-minded. Heart, if you're like super emotional all the time, woo, PMS every day, or you can't really feel anything. You're like, I don't feel anything. I'm a machine now at this point. Okay, so everybody rate themselves, and then you just draw a line. And you see how aligned you are.
There's not a line.
Well, you're not.
So most of you have zigzags, yes? It's kind of always flowing, so you're always trying to keep it in balance, okay? So the last piece is now this all lays the foundation for the 6 steps to attract clients now. And as I go through each of the steps, you can look at that 4th part on your worksheet and just rate yourself 0 to 5 where you would put yourself. So 5 means like, absolutely, I've got that down. 0 means I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so I'm gonna go through each one, you're gonna rate it. And in the interest of time as well, so what I wanna do is, we'll just go through each one. So experience, I spoke to that just a little bit ago. That's your brand experience, your level of brand presence. So when you walk into a room, is the 3 words that people would use to describe you congruent with the 3 values of your company? And is that congruent with the mission and vision of your company?
What do we put there to rate it?
So 5 is like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep, it's all aligned. 0 is like, I don't know what we're really talking about. I haven't even like assessed my company values. Everybody got it? Okay, the next one is network. So this spells the acronym energy. So we're going around. So N is for network. This is how much you can leverage your existing relationships into a tribe. So versus a tribe, instead of a kind of network of individuals around you. And generally, there are different ways people like to contribute. So you put yourself a 5 if you know your top 3 like strategic alliances or referral partners, or you might call them your power partners, or just people that are supporting you, and you know how you're tapping into each one, like how you're tapping into how they like to contribute best. So some people, they contribute to you with money by investing in you, or with connections by connecting you with referrals, or with love. They just love on you no matter what, or they champion you. There's lots of ways that people contribute. So you're clear on how people contribute and you're taking actions to drip on them. So that would be a 5. 0 is like, I've never analyzed my network. It's really random. I don't have any spreadsheet organizing it. Okay, E is execution. That's where you are now focusing on what your top 2 strategies are so that you can execute more easily versus, remember that chart I was talking about earlier where people have too many boxes out of the 30 ways to market? They're doing like 7 or 8 of them, not well. Versus like mastering 1 or 2 ways well. So look for yourself. Do you have like a whole bunch of marketing strategies, or just a couple that you're doing really well? So rate yourself at a 5 if you're really focused on your 2, and that's what you're doing. Next is roadmap, and this is where is all your numbers, and we're putting it all together. And this is where you know what key performance metrics matter in your business. So if you are tracking, if you're even tracking anything, you should give yourself at least a 3. So many business owners are like, I don't know, like they don't know their profit loss, or they don't know, like they're like, I'm like, what's your conversion rate? You know, or what are your number of leads you're getting? And they don't know those things. So if you know, at least, if you're at least tracking, give yourself a 3. If 5 would be like, you know what's important and you're tracking it. Okay, and then guide, those are your structures for success. So this is where you either have some sort of accountability. So a 5 would be, you've got lots of support set up. You've got your monthly business mentor call, you've got your mastermind call, you've got your accountability buddy, or you're doing it all on your own, it would be a 0. And then last is your story. So 5 would be this is all your marketing message. So 5 is like, I've done my market research. I know that when I develop a new product or I put out a new event, I already know people resonate with the words because it's what I've heard from them, or like that, versus, I don't know, I think I like this, so I'm just gonna throw it out there and that sounds good. That'd be 0. Okay, so I know that was a very quick and dirty, and I could spend like probably a whole year on each one of the elements, so I can't do it justice, but the point here is to assess for yourself. So go in and you can connect all the dots around the circle and see how much your wheel is rolling or not. Now, hopefully you might see where your wheel is a little flat and it may not roll that well. And in this next part, we're gonna discuss in small groups in 2018, like where can you reflect that you've done really well in these energy steps? And then where have you not done so well that you could focus on for next year? And then what I will also, so obviously we didn't get to go too in depth, but I have my the Conscious Business Accelerator that goes over the 6 steps in depth, where we spend a week on each one. And we have exercises that you then implement into your business. So we're actually maxed out and we filled up a lot of it, but there's like 3 or so more spots left. So that's something you're interested in, you can let me know just on the survey. So if you can just take a moment right now, that's when you're able to align everything, it really magnifies your impact that you can make in the world and who you attract as clients. And so if you can just take a moment right now and fill out the survey, that would be great.
Awesome. Thank you. And Mary B